Hey, welcome back to my channel. Expat Rebel Chris here. This video is about my solar system that I had installed here in Yucatan, Mexico on my home renovation here on the beach. Right behind me is the solar panels that we had installed. We actually had quite a few solar panel system people to choose from. It was a close tie actually, but we chose one that we liked, and they suggested this is the bodega, and that's the gate to the street. This is the bodega. It had a generator in it and a bunch of junk. We cleaned it out and we had the solar equipment in there. I'll show you that. But they wanted to put the solar panels on top. So they look on the top, they look like regular solar panels, but there's 8 of them and they're on. They had to build this out to accommodate all of them. So they had this structure built. They actually hired our construction people that were already doing things here to do that part. And then once this was up and running, then they came and stuck the panels in and all the equipment inside. So let's go inside and I'll show you what they did. We have some extra stuff. It's a utility room, just bodega, but they stuck all their solar stuff over here. So we have, this is the battery, Soluna battery. It's a pretty good size. It's 10 kilowatts system. We also have this is the inverter. This is what shows, there we go. This is the inverter. It shows what's going on. It converts the solar energy into usable electricity. And it shows you exactly what's going on. So we're getting this much from that. The battery's 100%. It's always making sure that's topped off. The battery, notice, is being used past midnight till 5 a.m. type of thing. We have most of the house uses this electricity, the system. Someone is wired directly to the public electricity company, though. But most of the household stuff goes through this inverter. And so they rigged all that up and they had to do some special, some switches we have to turn off when we need to. But for the most part, if electricity goes out, in fact, we got a notice from CFE, that's the public utility company that does all electricity for the entire country of Mexico. There's no competition. If they cut our power, this will chime in. Now, I did get an email a couple of days ago saying today, in fact, right now, they were going to cut our power for the day. They're doing some repairs nearby. It hasn't happened, but if it did happen, if the power did go out, which it has several times since we got this system, that's why we got it, is because we had the most problems with electricity going out here in this area of Yucatan, Mexico, on the beach than we have anywhere else we lived in Mexico. We've only lived in Quintana Roo and Yucatan State, but like 30 different places almost. So we've had a lot of experience in different areas, and this has been the worst we've had with it. So that's why we went with it. The house came with a generator, but we couldn't get it. In fact, we had several people look at it, couldn't get it to work. So we went solar. But when power goes out, the solar system takes about 5 minutes to kick in. And once it's kicked in, we have no idea that we're on solar or if we're on CFE, honestly, which was cool. So the entire house runs just normally, except for the air conditioners. So this system can't really handle an air conditioner. Now we have it set up so it can at night on the bedroom, especially wired directly to the inverter. And if we don't go nuts, which we don't really, we just want a certain coolness off. For us, like 24 degrees Celsius is at night is perfect. We'll do that, and it's been able to handle it, whether just on the battery, actually, which is amazing. Now, you stick that down to 17 degrees Celsius and you stick the fan on maximum, no, the energy difference we've noticed is drastic. Between that will take like 5 kilowatts or more per hour, where if you have it on low and only like 24, it's actually maybe a little bit over 1. So I've seen it as high as 11 kilowatts per hour of energy being used. And that could be because of some pumps we have, some of the pumps to put the water on the top of the roof here. For instance, there's a pump to take the water, which is roughly over there, all the way up. And it does that probably once a day or so. It takes up a lot of energy. So I've seen that a few times. But and overall, it's been a very good system for us and is working really well for us. So we're very happy with it. The battery is expensive, almost half the cost of this system. So if you don't really can't afford that and you want to just do the solar panels and the inverter and all that, and get a lot of free electricity during the day when it's a nice sunny day like it is today. It's partly cloudy, which is typical here. You can do that, and it'd be great. It would really fit your needs. And then at night, you're just going to be a little bit cautious on how much electricity you use, especially the air conditioning is the big thing. The lights, household stuff, not a huge consumer of electricity. I didn't really realize this until I got the system. But we turn on the air conditioning, it's a lot of electricity. So we've learned to be a little bit, use the electricity not so hard at night. Maybe just have it during the winter. Like right now, we don't even have air conditioning on. We can just do outside air fan inside. And it's great because outside is really nice. Even during the middle of the day right now, it's really nice. We can typically just the breeze, being on the ocean does help, but just the breeze helps keep things really nice and pleasant. And so we only use air conditioning when I get hot, honestly. And now with the pool, if that's really the case in the middle of the day, I can just get in the ocean. I swam in the ocean this morning, or I can get in the pool. That's why we had the pool for more of the afternoon. It gets a little windy on the beach. That doesn't make swimming in it all that fun. So that's typically what I do to cool off. But we've learned how to use our solar system. We pay attention to how we use the electricity. Now, let me show you the app they got. They have an app, which you can run on your smartphone or your smart tablet. I have it both on my iPhone and my iPad. It's really handy. And I think the first few weeks that we had this system, I was looking at it all the time to learn how this works. So I'm going to switch over to my iPad and show you what that looks like. Okay, this is my iPad, and this is the app that came with the solar system. You just installed it because it was free, and you log into your account. And this is what it tells me. So it's telling me that we're generating this much electricity, which right now is actually not that much, and that's probably because there's a big cloud going over our head. This much electricity is going back to electricity company. So they do give us a credit when we bank some excess electricity to them, and that we can draw that back later. It's an even thing that we don't really make any money doing that. And this is the battery. It's almost always 100% unless you look at it in the middle of the night, and in which case the lowest I've seen it is 25%. But it makes sure that it's charged at all times except for at night. And this is how much electricity we're currently using. We're not using much right now. This is actually really low. And that's because we have no air conditioning running at all. Now, it'll tell you how much we use and how much is going back to the grid. Now, on a cool day like this, in mid-December, we're not using a lot of electricity. We're not using any air conditioning really at all. So a lot of it's going back to the grid right now. And then this is how we use it. We use some that we directly make, self-use, and then we get some from the grid. And that was mostly probably at night. It tells you the details of that here when we use it and all that. And I've looked at these graphs over time to learn how much electricity we're really using, what particular items use a lot of electricity. And it really does come down to the air conditioning. The air conditioning is by far the most energy consuming things that can be used for hours at a time. What we learn is how to manage that, maybe in the middle of the day, getting in the pool, not having to use it, taking advantage, like right now when the weather's honestly pretty cool and pretty nice. We just have the windows open. And we do that as much as we can. And then if it gets too hot, close all the windows, turn on the air conditioning, and that's just the way it is. And we'll pay the electricity bill. Before we had solar, our electricity was maybe 60 or $70. The bill you get is every 2 months. So they bill you in 2-month increments. And we did pretty well. But the first rental we did, maybe a couple of years ago, actually, a house that we rented had solar. And it was the middle of the summer. We have the air conditioning on, quite honestly, almost all the time. And because it wasn't on the beach. But we found out at the end of the time when we left that our electricity bill was only $5. And that was because they had a solar system. We had no idea. We knew it had solar, but had no idea it could save you that much money. Right now, we're still new, we're still learning, and we haven't, and this solar system hasn't been used enough to see if it really affects our electricity bill quite yet. It is lower, and hopefully if we get it low enough, we get off the extreme rate. There's a rate, if you use so much electricity, if you use over that, you pay, I don't know, 2 or 3 times more for each kilowatt of electricity. And that's a subsidy for the poor who need electricity but can't afford anything. I've met people that have electricity bills of $2.50 US a month, or maybe that was every 2 months. It was really low. Yeah, it was every 2 months. And I didn't know you could get your electricity cost down that low. Well, that's because they really just use it for lights. And that's it. They don't even have air conditioning. And in this area of Mexico, you're going to want air conditioning. It does get hot. And most of the Yucatan, the entire peninsula is hot. So definitely, it's probably something, if you're watching this channel and you're from North America, American, Canadian, and European, you probably can't handle the heat here. It's not horrible. I used to live in Phoenix, Arizona. That was horrible. That you really couldn't live without air conditioning. It was so horrifically hot. Here you actually could, but you'd have to climatize too. I have climatized a bit, but not enough to do without air conditioning. I have it, and when I get hot, I turn it on. So that's our solar system. I hope that covered all the questions you had about it. If you do have any additional questions, go ahead and leave me a comment. Glad to answer that. We're very happy with our solar system, and I'm so glad we got it. It's really cool being and everything, but it works. Sometimes we don't even know if the electricity is out from the big company. We have to look in the app here to find out. Oh, we're running on our own. Okay, cool. And right now, CFE is up and running, but we're not using them. In fact, we're giving them some electricity right now, which is nice too. If you haven't subscribed already to the channel, go for it. We'd love you to subscribe to the channel and click that bell notification. You'll get notified when I come out with new videos. And hey, if you're interested in email, I have a weekly email over at expatrebel.com/newsletter. It comes out once a week, and it has the news for what expats want to know and what wannabe expats need to know. So go ahead and check that out over at expatrebel.com/newsletter, and I will see you guys next time. Ciao.